There is a very good question, very relevant to what Jeff was saying, right? How does it add value by issuing more shares? Why is it not dilutive? Not understanding the ideas.
I can answer this question and just roll into my points if that's cool. How does it add more value? I think Saylor said it best, I don't know, a month, 6 weeks ago on CNBC when he said, our shareholders want more Bitcoin per share. I would like to take it one step further. I want more Bitcoin, period. I'm so okay with just to give you a personal example, nothing I say is financial advice, but I hope they dilute harder. And I'm using that word. I know it's a dirty word to prove the point that I want more Bitcoin. One of the things Plan C talked about a little while back was what's a long-term catalyst. There is no theoretical mathematical limit to how high Bitcoin per share can go if and when MicroStrategy was to start doing buybacks, because the combination of splits and buybacks means that it would be physically impossible for any one entity to buy all of the shares. And there's a lot of buyers. The indexes, me, Jeff, Dan, all the retail people, institutions, high net worth, central banks. There's all these players. So if you just keep buying back and splitting the stock a la Apple, it's impossible for any one person to get all of them. So that trend, there is no limit to that. That's one thing. I think we're making a lot of progress though, because we're getting away from this whole linear thinking concept, right? We're talking about valuation in the sense of let's try and find a range or hopefully a floor or something like that. But I think we've all been through a number of cycles now and studied asset price movements and a little bit of Soros and Druckenmiller. Things move in such a nonlinear fashion. But I think MicroStrategy's can move in such a way where it looks like Apple on an all-time chart with a long period of flatness, multi-decade long period of flatness. And then when was the right time to sell? I don't know. I don't think there ever was one. I wanted to reference what F&T, I saw it up on the bottom line chat. And again, back to nonlinear thinking, Saylor in no uncertain terms referenced the idea of a 30 to 50x MNAV by laying out a compelling case. I wish I knew the whole thing about the percentages. He's putting it up again. It's 30 to 50x was the case that he made based off the growth rate of Bitcoin as it pertains to a growth company. I thought that was obviously a very compelling case. And then if people can see my screen here, can you see this little Kaggle calculator? What I want to do here was to one of the charts Sina had shared a little while ago about the 47 billion to a trillion. I think it's much higher than that, looking at the Kaggle numbers, because here's the other thing. This is the market cap number. This is not the stock price. And the market cap goes up more. If you look at the start of the Bitcoin era at MicroStrategy till now, the market cap has doubled the share price because of the quote unquote dilution, and it creates more shares. I could probably explain that better, but did I get all the numbers right? The 47, 1,000, 20 years. I mean, that seems bearish to me.
I would add that I was just I'm including 0% yield on that chart. So if you add that, it's just gonna explode, right? So I was trying to be extremely conservative.
Just one thing really quickly, Ryan. So one thing that people should also understand, so the other benefit of this dilution, quote unquote dilution, which I know none of you guys look at it that way because that's not really what it is that increases the market cap. So the more that you guys dilute, the more the market cap goes up, the more you're going to get to, a higher weighting in the indexes. So it actually is beneficial in that standpoint as well. So if I was a shareholder, I would be thrilled about any dilution, because especially when the NAV is higher, right? And I mean, and who knows how high it'll get in the future? No one really knows. But just so people understand, if it ever did get to a 10 to 1, that would be the equivalent of mining Bitcoin at 7K today. So it's just kind of crazy to think about that, any NAV over 3 it's kind of silly how cheap the investors are basically getting Bitcoin for versus the marketplace. That's kind of a very simplistic way to look at it. And that's only looking at it through the one lens. That's not looking at it through the volatility marketplace. That's not looking at it through the banking and all these other things. So yeah, I mean, it's I think it's one of the hardest stocks for people to wrap their head around. I mean, I'm somebody who I pride myself in being pretty good at analyzing things, even though I haven't analyzed like a crazy amount of stocks. Like, I know there's something significant here. I think it's just really hard for some people because, like you said, like they're coming at it through the wrong lenses. And until they're able to look at it through the right lens, it's kind of a tough one to wrap your head around. But there's something that's unique here. It's absolutely, you cannot compare this to any product or any ETF. You know, like comparing this to what was the one last cycle that all the outflows left?
GBTC.
Yeah, it's not even. There's just zero comparison to GBTC. Not even. There's no comparison. If you're saying that, I mean, yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's not. There's nothing comparable.
It's not a closed-end fund. It's an operating company with cash flow and revenue and an AI for BI platform